Edit audio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, well, having fun without all the cocktails. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another Pride episode of Well Adjusting. Today, we are going to talk about something that often goes hand in hand with queer experience: bars, drinking, and socializing. Now, please, before you get mad at me, I'm not saying that all gays drink, but long before the apps and all the openness, bars were one of the main places where we could find our people. And when you combine that history with the lack of third spaces that exist today, or rather don't exist today, folks can often find themselves going out and partaking more than they actually want to partake. And that is where we find Aadi. So today, we're going to chat about finding that line of how much you want to imbibe, setting intentions, and creating new habits for hangs. So let's get right to it.
My name is Aadi. I am 30 years old. I live in Jersey City. I am a dancer and I work in a lot of artistic and creative projects.
So what are we talking about today? Do you think you could give us like kind of the elevator pitch of the topic you wanted to pick apart?
Yes. So the topic I want to discuss today is about socially induced drinking. And I can go into, I can explain it a little bit more. It's not about, like being dependent on alcohol or like feeling like you're going down the alcoholism path, but more so when you're in social settings, when somebody suggests, should we get a drink or should we get one more? Kind of that inability to say no, because I don't have that ability at all. So I was like, I think this is a problem and we should talk about it.
I love this conversation a lot because like I'm the gal who was like, we should really go home early tonight. And then all of a sudden I turn around and it's 4 a.m.
Exactly.
At least in my 20s and 30s when I was fun. Now I'm like in bed by 9. What I love about this conversation too is this is Pride Month. And so we're talking about like things that come across in the queer community too. And like, I always think that this is rooted in like, that's where queer people meet often is bars and stuff like that. So it can be very rooted. And then it can also be like, you turn around and you spent a lot of money or you were out too much, or maybe it starts to impact things. So can you tell us a little bit, just give us a little more of your story, like fill it in a little?
Yeah, for sure. I think, in friend groups, in any kind of social gathering, I think first of all, it's becoming harder and harder to kind of pick an activity that is like a fully contained activity on its own without the drinking part involved. Like anything that we suggest, there is always, should we get, sometimes it's just, should we get drinks and, chat about the week or whatever. Or even if we say, let's go to the movies, like there is still, we're getting a drink or two there. But then those little moments, like then it doesn't end there. We might as well stay out. So then that one drink turns into 3. Then it's like, let's go to one more spot. And then, then you want a nightcap and then you want food after all of that. So...
Which can get expensive because it's like, I know you live near New York City and that's like, it's $20 a drink these days.
I think the drinking part alone is expensive, but I think what has made me really think about this topic is more so like, I think there's a tolerance of the alcohol where you're like, I don't know how to figure out trains anymore. I must Uber home. and that Uber to Jersey City is never under $50, like when you are trying to leave on a Friday night or a Saturday night. At the moment, that feels like a justified expense.
Sure does.
And, the next day is when you're like, oh my God, did I spend $70 just to get home?
Okay, so you just mentioned one way it impacts. Like, what are other ways that it impacts your life?
Yeah, and I think like it's impacting your sleep. It's impacting your schedule, especially if it was supposed to be this one event, like someone's book signing, someone's little like gallery opening, whatever that you went out to on a Tuesday night. But then, you still have the rest of the week to go. So then it kind of throws off the whole rhythm of the week because you had a like one night out where you just didn't say no to like the next drink or whatever. And then
Yeah.
you're kind of, I feel like every time that happens to me, I'm playing recovery for like the next 4 days. And then, I mean, if it happens on a
Oh, yeah.
Tuesday, then like, the whole week you're recovering, and then it's the weekend. And
And then it's hair of the dog.
When you say recovery, is it like your body, or like you mean like financially, like you spent your money for the
Oh,
week?
I think financially, there's just no recovery at this point. But you're.
Are you in credit cards? Are you into the credit cards?
Oh my
Aadi?
God.
Do I have to get my mom voice
Oh my
on?
God, yeah. I met with the financial planner recently. I was like, we need to get this under control. We cannot be spending money that we don't have, because that's what I used to do. But that's not, not to say I was spending all of that on like drinking. That was more like, oh, I want to go on a trip.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But no, I think like recovery in the sense of like just kind of like getting back into your schedule. Maybe you were on a streak of like, oh, waking up at 6:30 a.m. and like going to the gym every day, and then like now suddenly that's gone. And then I'm not a morning person, so if I did have a pretty good streak going, then to get back into it, it's like a whole like 2-week process to to convince myself to be like, oh yeah, we can wake up early again, we can do this again.
Are you the type of friend in your friend group where people have expectations that you bring fun and you're going to be the one who, like, they always know, oh, Aadi be up for a drink?
Yeah, like I feel like I never force people into drinking, or I am also never like seeking out drinking on my own either. But I think it's usually when somebody suggests, oh, should we get a drink? Like I am usually the first person to say, oh yeah, let's do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Laying it out. Let's just take New York City for an example, because we both have access to, and that's where we're hanging out, right? They always say there's a million things you can do here, but 999,999 of those things cost.
Yes.
Like, a free thing is always like, take a walk in the park with your friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, it's 7:30 and it's dark. I'm not doing that.
Right.
That's part of the thing, is like finding things you can do that don't include alcohol, which is harder than one would think. I mean, there's like trivia nights and things like that, but those usually take place at bars.
At a bar, yeah, exactly. And then like I don't know at what point the bars will be like, okay, yeah, like we love that you love trivia, but like we still need to make money. Like I don't think that you can just be completely dry there. A lot of especially while I'm in my 30s, like the late 20s, 30s crowd, like we're still hanging out a little later than, like 9 to 4 or like 9 to 5 schedule, right? So then even if you're thinking about, oh, you know what, I don't want to drink tonight, or I don't want to drink this weekend, I want to go to a museum with a friend, like those close early. Or if they do stay open, it is because they are having a drink at the museum event. So there you're still drinking even when you're doing that. So it's like also that lack of like third spaces.
Yeah. Is your friend group the type that if you were to be like, hey, I want to have everybody over and we're going to do, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but like, we're going to have Pictionary night, well, like game night, like you're going to do some kind of like, maybe it's like hearts, whatever. Like, would your friend group be, and you're like, we're doing this with no alcohol tonight, we're just going to have mocktails. Would your friend group be like, you can go fuck yourself? Or would they be like, sure, I'm on board?
No, I think we're like slowly getting into that, especially like my core group that I hung out with, we were kind of scattered at first. Like I was always in Jersey City. One of them was in Hell's Kitchen, one of them was in Upper East. So it was like, oh, like, we kind of always met up somewhere in the city, and then that would kind of turn into
middle.
Drinking. And then now they both moved to Jersey City. So it's a little bit more, okay, like, we can all meet up at one person's place and like do something.
My first question is, how new are you to New York? Because I feel like everyone moves to New York. Or are you like a born and raised New York?
No, I've been here 5 years. I grew up in Atlanta, and then I moved here. Yeah.
Okay, so I am also in New York 5. This is my fifth or sixth year, I think. And I asked that because I feel like I went so hard in the paint when I first moved here. First of all, because it was after the pandemic and I hadn't had fun in a while, but also because I needed to meet a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I need friends, and like I didn't have any sort of like places to go that weren't just like places alone. So that was my roundabout way of asking you, like, when you're going out to like drinking activities, what are you like? Are you looking to meet new friends? Are you looking to hook up? Are you looking to date? Are you looking for work connections? Is it your existing friends? Is it all of those things?
Yeah, I think honestly for me it kind of happened like reverse to what you mentioned. But I think that like what you were saying is like the natural progression of things. Like, you're in New York, so you want to do everything. When I had just moved, New York was like too big, right? So I was like, oh my God, I cannot, like, if I'm stepping out, I'm like strictly on like a 2 drink minimum because like I don't want to be like impaired and, like not know how to get back home. I'm making sure my phone
so what you're
charged.
saying is you are responsible and I am not.
Well, in the beginning, well, it started there to now it's like, I mean, I know New York. I can be blackout and still somehow make it home. It'll be fine. So it went there. So I think like it turned into like, even if my like phone is about to die, I'm like, oh, I know this like one bar that like has the chargers there. So I could go there. So I could go there, have a drink, and then like charge my phone. It turned into that. But I think from that motivation part, I think like I really started developing like a familiarity towards like places that have alcohol, like usually bars, but where it's like, especially in the gay bars, like there is a show happening, there's a drag queen performing, so you're just sitting there, you're being entertained, you're with friends, and then it just kind of became this like space to do nothing almost, and then like the drinks just kind of became part of that. So then like when we think about like decompressing or like relax after a long week at work, it's like, oh yeah, let's go to the bar that we always go to and like let's sit there for 3 hours.
And that is one of the things that you mentioned, third spaces, that there just aren't a lot of them. And I do find that there's a habitual thing. Like, how smokers who quit talk about all the times and places where they would have a cigarette, like they're like just leaving work or they're on a lunch break. They might like are on their way out here or there. I feel like sitting down with friends at a dinner and then getting a cocktail, it's very common. It becomes almost like that cigarette.
Yeah, it's just like a ritual, right? Like almost like what are you supposed to do like other than this on like a Friday night kind of thing. I think where it kind of was like a moment of like reflection for me and my friends. So my like core friend group, we all worked together, till very recently. And me or like one of them, we would start off like, oh my God, like, I did like this huge presentation today. It was like such a, like I've been working towards it for like months. But it's finally done. It's a Wednesday. I want to go for happy hour. Like, we're like, okay, cool. Like we're celebrating it. You were stressed out, like all of that. But then that like threshold of like what would qualify as like an event to get a drink started going out. It's like, oh my God, you won't believe what this email I got today. I need a drink. It went from like months long projects ending to I had an email that like rubbed me the wrong way, so now I need a drink.
Yeah, and by the way, that's part of the habitual stuff that can come in too. That's like all of a sudden it's just like I find that for me, especially working from home, I don't have that delineation of when the day is over. And there's this thing, I'll feel my shoulders up and I'll just be like, maybe I'll just go like make a cocktail. I'm gonna run the blender. I'm gonna make a quick little margarita, and I'm gonna sit in here and I'm gonna like turn on the TV or I'm gonna switch rooms, and that's a signal to me that my day is over.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think one of the things, because I feel like we're talking about like a lot of things. We're talking about like how to like create new habits. We're talking about breaking things, and then we're talking about like what is the appropriate amount that you would want to do it. So I want to say this one thing first, and then I want to ask a question about that. But I want to say that one of the things that helped me break that 5 o'clock moment, and by the way, not all the time, because I still love that 5 o'clock moment, was I got all the stuff to make mocktails. And the process of making it feels like I'm making a cocktail. I find myself, I'll be resistant to it, but then I'm like, oh, well, that was delightful. I'm going to go make another one of those. And, it's like, so I do think there are things like that can help break the habit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like, where I am like, oh, this is like a very specific problem is also because I do have like a full bar at home, but I never drink at home. Like I don't even make myself a drink or pour wine or anything. It's usually only when I'm like out with people, when I'm like down this like kind of rabbit hole of like, oh, like let's keep drinking. So even
Yeah.
when there's like, let's say like we all know we're going to this party on a Saturday and we're supposed to like, pregame and everything, I still usually don't pregame. I'm like fully
Yeah.
going through all phases of being drunk by paying money.
What in your perfect world, because really, like, you are very confident and comfortable that you're like, it's not a problem in the sense of like, I can't stop. It's more a problem in the sense of like, I'm trying to find a way to be with my people
Yeah.
in other ways. Like, what would it look like that you'd be like, I like this balance?
Yeah, I think one thing that has helped me, while all of these, the ideal spaces, like they don't exist, and, there's like other ways, other creative ways I want to control this issue. One thing that has helped me is kind of really just like filling up my schedule with like things I like, like dance rehearsals or like, other creative meetings with other like artists that I want to work with and everything. So it's like filled up that I always have something to look forward to skip a day of like spontaneous like drinking or like going out, because I'm always like, oh, like, tomorrow I have this like, I have something that'll take up my like whole evening. So I'm okay with taking my Wednesday to kind of just sit at home and like rest, because there's like something else to look forward to. Because I think when I had kind of too much open time is when I was more susceptible to like, if any group, even if it's not like your core group, asks like, hey, like, are you free to get a drink and like catch up, it's like an immediate yes from me, versus I'm like, oh no, I actually have something going on, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm only free on Thursdays. Then, if there's like a resistance from them or their schedules don't match up, it kind of just like falls apart before we get to that drinking part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going out every night?
No, I cannot afford. but if money wasn't an issue, will I go out every night? Probably. There was a time when it was like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday situation. So like from there, I have like kind of reeled it back into, okay, like I want to do it like one night of the weekend, and then it became like, okay, let's do that one night of the weekend like twice a month. So now I think the ideal state would be there's one weekend of the month where it's like, okay, like we're having fun, we're drinking, like all of that. The other weekends really is not fully revolving around like, oh, what other activity can we like go be drunk at, but it's more like, yeah, maybe let's go to the museum, and like that's all we do, because we can all look forward to the next weekend where we're all supposed to be drunk and, dysfunctional.
So like, where do your friends, like if you were to come in and be like, I really want to keep this type of schedule, like what would your friends be supportive?
Yes, I think my friends would definitely be supportive, and I think that is what has helped all of us. Like, well, one of them like got into a relationship with a guy that is like not necessarily introverted, but the boyfriend doesn't drink, so that became like a catalyst to be like, oh, like now we're already like opening up space in our schedule. So then it's like, okay, like what other things can you fill your days up with, which is not, drinking. One person disrupted the pattern, and then it was like, okay, like we're gonna fit into this like new pattern kind of thing. Yeah.
Hey, friend, I'm just jumping in here to say that we've got a new way to get in touch with us. If you want to leave us some feedback, hopefully good, or suggest an episode topic or ask a question, all you have to do is go to sayhi.chat/welladjusting. The link's in the show notes, but I'll say it one more time. sayhi.chat/welladjusting. You could leave us a voice memo, and we might just use it on air. And if you happen to be enjoying this episode, why not go ahead and subscribe to the podcast or rate and review us? You won't regret it, folks.
I feel like there is a project management part of this conversation where it is like, okay, like going out equals drinking. Mm-hmm. But we also live in New York, and I would challenge and say that there are so many, especially queer events, that are like intentionally sober places. There's like a full queer and sober meetup that happens like 5 times a week. There's like queer pickleball, there's queer figure drawing, there's a store that opened up by my house that sells board games, but you can just go and play board games, like, and they have like 90,000 board games. Like, there are all these activities. It's just like scheduling them in so that we're not going to like the default, like, let's just go down the street to XYZ gay bar. But my question, because when I put this on myself, is what do you feel like? Is there an emotional side of it? Is there anything that you feel like you're losing by not drinking?
Oh, by not drinking. Interesting.
Oh, well, when you like brought up like a dedicated sober event, like I feel like going to that would kind of make me feel more like there was a problem, like that I had to like seek out a sober event because I was like, is this because
Yeah, but I do want to say I don't think that I'm pushing back on this, Aadi. I don't think that going to like, let's say there's a queer sober dance party, like I don't think that means there's a problem. It could be that you want to be with your friends and you want to be out
in a sober
but
space.
You don't want to go post up in a bar and drink seltzers all night.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
So it's like it gives you a thing to do.
If you like tomorrow we're like, I'm not going to drink for the next 2 months, do you have any fear that comes up? Because I do.
Ditto.
Not necessarily like, I don't think any of the like the physical feelings of being under the influence is like being missed, but I think, and again, like I don't know if I've done the mental work enough to distinguish like, are the places fun or is it fun because you are drunk, like, so I think like not being in the like as dingy as some of the New York City bars are, like, there you still like kind of grow a fondness towards them, right? So then it's like, but or like, is it more so becoming comfortable with, okay, I'm gonna go to the bar I like, but then order a Sprite or like like seltzer and cranberry, like normalizing that. Like I don't think I've done either of that, like mental work.
And it's breaking a crutch and it is normalizing it that like tonight you're gonna do that. I mean, because it's like, you're right, Steph, though. That's like ultimately the question is like, Aadi, like full disclosure, like both my parents were alcoholics. I've got a food issue. So for me, I'm always like watching it like, is this a problem? And I think for me, drinking shows up a lot more as a food issue. A lot of my stuff it's like, I want a margarita because it's just like having fucking dessert and a cocktail. And then my shoulders drop at the same time. Yeah. It's like win, 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 win. Yeah. So it's like, I'm always looking at it like that, but it's like, I'm aware, I know exactly what it is. And then I know exactly when I'm like, I have been making the margaritas like Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, like I'm going to make the mocktails tonight. And I feel like there needs to be some exploration for you around that. Like what's breaking the habit or what's like how much you want to do. Cause like whatever you want to do and you can support, Godspeed. Like the second it crosses over into it's hurting your life in some way, well, then you got to make adjustments.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, but I'm not sure where that line is or where you want it to be. And there's multiple things it's impacting,
Yeah. And I think the other part too, like when you're tossing back like vodka sodas or like gin and tonic versus like you're having this like highly curated mixologist like driven cocktail, it's like two different experiences, right? So I think there's also like a singularity to like how I am seeing alcohol as like, oh, like every experience with alcohol like needs to end up with like you feeling some type of buzz or like you feeling like a physical sensation from it, versus maybe like you do have a very like nice cocktail that like at a place that looks very nice, like you're happy there, not really thinking of it as like, oh, this cocktail was $25 and I usually need 4 drinks to get drunk, so now I have to drop $100 here.
It's so interesting you say that, because when we first started talking, I was like, I find the line with this so difficult because we all know I'm like an advocate for giving yourself like a good celebration and a little sweet treat. Like I love that. And I think like life is fucking hard. Celebrate whatever you can. If you celebrate responding to an email, like I will be your number one fan and I will be there.
Yeah.
Like I will go to that party. I will throw that party. And so like, I love that. But what I do find is like, okay, well, where's the line? And I think for me, it's like, well, why am I drinking? And fully transparently, some nights I say I have that dog in me. Like I wake up, I'm like, I'm going to get fucked up tonight and it's going to be fun. And like, I know that. And
Yeah.
I'm drinking for that reason. But
Mhm.
other nights, I'm going out because like I want a nice glass of wine that matches the food that I'm eating. And it's like, okay, if I slow down and I'm like, why am I drinking this? And it's not to get fucked up. I don't need like 4 glasses of wine. Plus, I don't need to buy a whole bottle, you know? And so thinking about the why for me, I think would be helpful. Does that resonate at all with you?
No, I think that makes a lot of sense because I think like even when you are on like a date too, right? Like it's usually like a drink-based date, but then it's like, you don't need to get drunk with this. I mean, pretty much a stranger that you just met. Like it can be like, I think kind of maybe consciously attaching like a purpose to a drink is like how to kind of reel it in even more and not just kind of arbitrarily saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna have one weekend every month where I am like letting it all loose or whatnot, or saying, oh, like I can only drink on even number days. I don't know.
Yeah, like I almost feel like it's like instead of coming from a place of like limiting yourself, which is like the project manager in me wants to do that. Like I'm like, well, tell me your budget, tell me how many days you want to go out, and I will like make you the fucking work back plan, like for sure. But I'm like, I almost feel like that's a limiting way to look at it, and it
Mhm.
doesn't sound like you have substance problems.
Right.
So it's like, well, what's the like expansive way of looking at it? And to me, that's like getting more in touch with the why you're doing it
Mhm.
while you're doing it so that
Mhm.
you can enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you're not going to have these feelings like if while you're drinking your glass of wine with your nice meal or that like cocktail that someone took 20 minutes to make,
Mhm.
the next morning you're not going to have regrets about that if you know that you got it for the experience.
Yeah, and then also I think like kind of like again like getting into this like ritual of like just because you're in the space doesn't mean you need to like keep drinking either too, right? Like you can
Yeah.
you can kind of like again attach that purpose to it and be like, okay, like I had
I will
yeah.
say that's a very difficult thing though.
Mhm.
Like, I mean,
So
I've
hard.
had ideas where I've been like, I'm going to alternate seltzer with a drink. And I've done that like twice and I'm 56. It's like, that's like once, like if you're, especially if you're a person, which you seem like, who likes people and likes the experience of like I love the woo, like we're all together and all of
Yeah.
a sudden we're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And we're just like having the time of our life. And that's how I end up staying
Mhm.
till 2 a.m. because it's like we start talking about shit and at that point, I'm not likely going to start switching to seltzer. It's just, I think it's not a reality.
Yeah.
Me neither.
But we've had times where like I'll meet Steph and I'm just like, okay, I don't actually want to have a lot of drinks. So I'll order, and this is going to sound weird, but I'll order like an old fashioned because I know that that's a very sippy cocktail. And like people can have 3 drinks while I drink 1. And then I could just sit with it. And then I can be like, okay, no, I'm ready to go.
And you
So
do
it's-
order seltzer, but I do feel like you do the thing where it's like you announce it before you do it.
Oh, I do?
Sorry,
I do?
I'm just like, I'm putting you on blast right now for
know,
no
I'm like-
reason. I'm sorry.
Well, usually I do it just because I'm thirsty. But what I
Mhm.
will do is I make sure to keep the seltzer there so that if I am trying to slow down, I'll be like, I'll have a sip of the drink and then I'll drink a lot of seltzer and then I go back and forth. That's the way that I control it because it's like shit can sneak up on you.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking too about like, once you like to Steph's point, I really do think it's like you just being more intentional about what your goal is. But I do think there is an expansive thing you could do where you could add in, you and your friends could be like, let's do one new thing a week.
Yeah.
Like we used to do this like Big Apple. It was like Big Apple Roundup, and it was in some like weird conference building, and it was on the 6th floor, and you went up, and it was this open space, and it was like country line dancing.
Oh.
Like they would teach you at like 8, they would do a country line dance, and then there was 2-stepping, but it was gay, and I loved it because it was like, and they had this little bar, but it was like the most inconsequential bar.
Mhm.
So it's like I would have probably a beer. And then, but most of the time I was doing these dumb, like howling at how bad I am at 2-stepping. And so I do think there could be part of that intentionality too, of seeking out other stuff that's like, maybe you're still going to have a beer, but you're not going to have 5 gin and tonics.
Yeah. The alcohol or like the drinking not being the main event in itself, like kind of takes the pressure off of, like you got to keep drinking or like you got to keep buying like with the others or whatnot.
Yeah. Even the Big Apple Roundup or whatever the fuck that was called, we had a $10 cover, I think. It's like we're not getting around the finance part too much of it, unless you start to do some stuff like where you host some things, or your friends have like, when it's like, I'm a broke ass week, you just be like, all right, I'm hosting, we're going to watch 2 movies that we've already seen and we're going to talk over it, or, whatever,
Yeah. I mean, like the finance part, it's more like, it'll be nice if I'm not spending like hundreds of dollars on like just drinking, which I mean, again, like it hasn't been like a dependency or an addiction, so it's not like I'm like taking out loans to like get the next drink.
That's a different episode. Yeah.
Well, and I do also want to say this. It's like there are stages in life too. Like my 20s, college into like my 20s and early 30s in the city were like, wow, and it's like probably into my mid to late 30s. Yeah. And then I met Mary, and then it was like, and then we had kids, and it's like, and then now there's new normals. Yeah. And it's, if I've got 2 things in a week, I'm like, I cannot. I'm like, well, I got to put that in 2 weeks. Like, so it's like you're in a phase in your life where it is go, go, go in a city that is go, go, go.
Yeah.
So I just think as long as you are paying attention and, it seems like you're very aware of what's addictive and what's not. So it's like, as long as you have that in the back of your head somewhere, as long as you're thinking about what you want.
Yeah. And I think that also, in some ways, like rediscovering like who I am growing into, because I think part of the reason like the drinking keeps coming back is also because I did have like, those times in college and everything where you are like drunk every night, but you still somehow woke up for your like 7 a.m. lecture and like still made it through.
It was easier.
Yeah, and it was easier. But then also like, understanding like maybe like my body is not able to do that. Like maybe we do need to lie down before, So then getting used to that, but then kind of like then almost reteaching myself like, well, this is the new things I enjoy. And then like letting some of the familiarity of like what used to be fun, go. And in some ways, like not being scared of that too, right? Because sometimes it's like, oh my God, like, am I too old for this now or something?
Well, that's why I asked that question about like, do you feel like you're losing something? Because if I really think about it, the crux of my drinking is like, I love that feeling of like being free and like no worries and dancing. And I get that from alcohol. It's not to say I can't get that from other things. That's just what I've like conditioned myself, and it's an easy way to get it.
Yeah.
And that's my fear, is that I'm going to lose that part of myself.
Yeah.
Which sounds so stupid. Like it's just alcohol. But I'm like, I get scared that I'm not going to have fun in my life anymore.
But I think like on the other note of like kind of like the other side of that coin too, right? Like kind of like realizing like, was I probably hungover in all those lectures?
Yes.
I probably was, but then like, that kind of didn't matter versus like, am I more like, I don't know, sad or irritated that I'm like not 100% at like my next meeting the next morning because I am like attaching different values to different things now, right? Like I do want to perform well at work, or like perform well at the next show that's coming up, and then this is like the lead up to it. So then kind of like having I guess like really realizing it the night before, like is the feeling tomorrow going to be worth all the stuff tonight?
Yeah. No, it's like, what's the cost? And just keeping an eye on what's the cost. It's like anything else. It's like spending or eating. It's like, okay, well, if I do this, what's the cost? And like, do I want to do it? Do I need to do it? Like, if you need to do it, then you're having a different conversation. But if you're like, I just kind of want to do it, or I'm used to doing it, or what I always do, there's certainly ways to break it, especially if you have people who are willing to break it with you. And if you don't, it's a city where you can make a couple of new friends who are in that space. Yeah. And those are your people who you break it with. I feel like for the most part, what you want and what you like. I just think you probably just need to like bring it forward a little bit more when you're planning, when you're thinking about like, like have a set of questions that you ask yourself, like,
well, so interesting you should say that, because I
were
have
you going to just say
Steph's homework round. Well, no, I wrote down my homework. So my first one was like the intention. So I think like I love a sticky note. So I said you should put a sticky note on the back of your computer. So when you close your computer for the day, it's like, okay, what's the intention for the night? Like, what are you going out or what are you staying in? And what are you like, what's the purpose? Is it to get fucked up? Is it to go dancing? Is it to have a new experience? What is it for? The second was that I think, because there was one point when you talked about like divey queer bars, and like I love a neighborhood bar and I love a queer bar. I love being known at a bar. I love like all of that. So I want you and me to like go to one of those bars that you like know that you love and experience an amount of it without alcohol. Doesn't have to be the whole night. You don't have to commit to like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't want you to be rigid with it. I just want you to like have the experience so that you know that you can.
Yeah. Yep.
And then my third one is what Robin said, to find once a month a thing that you can do either with your friends or alone that is like centered around something else. Like line dancing, pickleball. I can't believe I keep like whoring out pickleball. I've never played pickleball in my life. But like there's queer basketball. There's like, you know, I go to like this like kinky figure drawing like thing.
Nice,
and it's at a bar, but it's like there's an activity. So you don't have to drink, you know?
Yeah, I like all of those. Yes. I think they're also very like reasonable, and it's not like,
and if you want a friend to go with, like, feel free to invite me.
Perfect.
The only bit of homework I have, and I think it sort of just like dovetails in with what we've been talking about with what Steph says, is like a question of like, how do you celebrate yourself? Because it's something we talk a lot about on the podcast, because I couldn't, for the longest time, I couldn't find anything other than like, well, I guess I could take a bath that wasn't drinking or food. Like, and that's like, those are like a cocktail to celebrate, or like, let's go out to dinner, you know? So like trying to find other things to celebrate yourself. I feel like just even asking yourself those kinds of questions, like how would you celebrate yourself? Is it like, do you go dancing? Do you know, what do you do that you love to do that makes you feel nice? And I think if it's a night where you are like, and then that dovetails in with, if it's a night where you're like, no, I don't want to feel shitty. I want to feel really good. Something great just happened. Then you could go to your list of things that make you feel nice and do one of those things.
Yeah.
And I think just like inquiring about that a little bit, and then doing, and maybe having conversations with your friends to see where they're at on it, which it sounds like you kind of already are. It's just being more intentional about it. I'm so glad that you said you wanted to come on. This is such an interesting conversation. And I don't think a lot of people, I think people tackle it like when it's a problem all the time, but they don't talk about the culture around it. And I mean, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. So I'm just really glad that you reached out and wanted to chat about it, because this has been like really fun. And I do think it's especially important as people in the queer community.
And like, that's going to set you up for so much success, because it's just like you being more in tune with your wants and desires, which like, who doesn't need more of that?
Yeah.
I know I do. All right, Steph, first of all, I want to say I loved that conversation, but I had an idea. All this talk, because I do think there's that real crutch action of just like you go out, you have your drink, you order it. Let's each share our favorite mocktail.
Oh, I love a mocktail. And I spent many years as a bartender.
Oh, so, of course you did. Of course you did.
I mean, I've had many, many lives.
So you go first.
I have two. Can I give two?
Yes,
My easy mocktail is like, I have nothing in the fridge. I always have like tea or iced tea. And so I'll just do like iced tea, lemon, and then I usually put like some sort of herb, some sort of spice in there. So I'll do like cardamom syrup, or like, which I'm realizing now that I'm saying I have nothing in the fridge, but I do usually have like a cardamom syrup or something that I've made in the fridge. But if you don't have that, you can just muddle up whatever spice and put it in there. And then my second one, which is like a little more complicated, but I think is like the best summer drink, is hibiscus tea. So you just like soak hibiscus leaves, lime juice or lemon juice, and fresh ginger. So it's like a little spicy, and honey. So it's like a little spicy, but it's sweet, but it's like bright pink, and it's like, I love it.
Okay. So because I'm not a cook or a chef in any way, mine is very simple. But I could do two too. One is like you can order those. There's a couple of that right around the corner from my house. There's a non-alcoholic like liquor store, and they sell like Ritual makes like their version of vodka. Their version, it's around the corner from my house. Their version of tequila, and they're always like spicy, and you can buy those and make drinks with those. But like just a simple at home, 1 lime, some agave syrup, so a little. Clink it in and put it in a cute glass. Put it in like a little like cocktail glass. Little. First you're gonna put the cut up a lime, put it in there, and you're gonna squeeze the whole lime in. Get yourself one of those little presses, and then muddle the mint. So you're gonna put in some fresh mint. Muddle that crap. Then you're gonna put in some ice. Fill with seltzer. I do about 3 swirls of agave, mix it up. It looks like a cocktail. If you want to really garnish it with like a little piece of lime, that's nice too. It looks like a cocktail, feels like a cocktail. But I swear it, the act of making it is like, causes the relaxation.
I love a garnish too. I'm going to +1 that. I think anytime I make a cocktail, I usually put a garnish in it, which I'm not a big cocktail person, but if I'm making a cocktail, like I'm going to get the toothpick with like the little frozen fruit whatever the fuck I have, like the sprig of mint. I'm like, I don't need to eat that, but I am going to enjoy my drink more because it's in it. It looks cool.
100%. And because it's in a cute cocktail glass.
Cute cup. Yes. Oh, those are such good points.
Take that and run with it. Find your Big Apple rodeo or whatever your activity is and go forth. Drink or don't drink. Just think about your intention. Well, that is it for today, folks. Go out there and enjoy that Pride Parade. But maybe decide before you head out how much you want to enjoy that Pride Parade, if you know what I mean. Thank you, Aadi, for joining us today for this chat. We love when folks reach out with topics that they want to talk about. Hint, hint, hit us up at hello@editaud.io if you want to chat about something. For more Robin, and you may need that, you probably don't need it, but like if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Specker. This episode was edited by Megan Hayward. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.